going to be in Therendor on the 20th in the year 998 YK. So this is a month after the 4-year anniversary of the Day of Mourning. The Day of Mourning is the day when the entire nation of Seer ceased to exist. So to show the good old Eberron map, one second here. So the last war ended when something happened. It might have been internal, it might have been external. No one knows, or if anyone does, they're not talking. The last war ended when Seer just ceased to exist and got turned into the Mournland. There is now a wall of what they call the Dead Gray Mist surrounding it at literally the exact borders. The mist doesn't expand, it doesn't contract. It's about 300 to 400 feet high, depending on the day. It looks like a bunch of screaming faces from the outside. So, like, if you're standing outside of the mist and you look at it, you just see these, like, terrified, ghostly faces just kind of like across the side. But the faces are huge. They're like 3, 4 stories tall at a time. As far as anyone is aware, there are no known survivors of the actual mourning itself. Anybody who was within the country when the mourning happened is dead. Even those who the Dead Gray Mist doesn't actually affect. So, like Warforged, for example, are immune to many of the effects of the Dead Gray Mist. But those who were within the Mournland are, when the mourning happened, are still dead. Like, bodies of Warforged have been found. You all are in... Hold on, I will come down here. And this program is not great for this. You all are in New Seer. New Seer is right here. It is a pretty freshly settled town. It's only actually been a town for about 2 years. Those citizens of Seer who sort of got, like, had their homeland Alderaan and were running around for a long time, they went to the various other countries where the Seeran embassies were, and eventually some of them started settling here because there was kind of a large camp of people. They just kind of conglomerated here. It wasn't actually in any of the Braelish towns. So we'll back up a little bit more. So this land right here, you can sort of follow the border and see that it's technically in Brayland. But there was no settlement here. There was just an abandoned noble's mansion that had long since fallen into disrepair, and they started setting up camps. And eventually, the surviving crown prince of Seer moved to the camp. And eventually, King Borinel of Brayland was like, look, I feel real bad for what happened to you guys, so you can have this land. So this land will follow Seeran law. This land is considered sovereign Seeran land, but it's considered sovereign Seeran land, so it can be run by the prince in any way that he wants. So that was about 2 years ago, and over time it has grown and grown, and now is a small town of just over 4,000 inhabitants. The town is doing fairly well for a town of its size, but it is inhabited by people that have very, very little. Almost everybody who is there was a Siren native, and so they lost everything. Like, unless they were carrying it on them, it's gone. It's back in this sort of like Fallout analog over here to the east. However, Prince Orgev, like his mother, is very good at diplomacy and was able to, call in a few favors because, hey, just because the throne doesn't exist anymore doesn't mean that I didn't automatically inherit everything that my mother had. So technically, all of her, accounts and holdings went to him. Those holdings are mostly the Mournland right now, but he still has the accounts and the favors he can call on. The Day of Mourning, the event that created the Mournland, was bad enough that it sort of ended the war. people came together and said, hey, one of the prime countries in our continent just got WMD'd. And so maybe we should stop fighting this 100-year-long war. There's actually there's a piece. It's a shaky piece. That treaty was only signed 2 years ago, and it's kind of a shaky thing. Think of this as being sort of the beginning of that time between World War I and World War II. Everybody's really happy that the fighting isn't going on anymore. Everybody still pretty much hates each other. A lot of the Breland citizenry, even though New Seer has been granted to Prince Orgev by their king, a lot of the Bralish citizenry still consider the Seerans to be enemies. These people are invaders. They don't care that the land was granted to them because, 5-6 years ago on this border, Braylon and Seer were constantly fighting. Dargoon and Valinar, as at the beginning of the war, were still considered to be part of Seer, and now they're not. Zilargo and Drome and the Shadow Marches were still considered to be part of Brayland, and now they're not. So a lot changed in that 100 years. It started as a war between 5 countries, and it ended as a treaty between 13. So there's been a lot of changes, and not everybody is okay with them. This is kind of one of the things that I mentioned in the primer. People aren't likely to hate you because, hey, you're a shifter and you're bad, or hey, you're an orc or a half orc and you're bad. They're likely to hate you because, hey, you're a shifter and you're from Thrain. Fuck Thrain. We hate Thrain. Thrainish soldiers killed my pa, sort of stuff. So it's a very like nationalistic, sort of jingoistic kind of thing. New Seer is on a pretty good trade road, but it doesn't have any lightning rail connections. If you look at this map, all of the orange lines right here, the ones that I'm like following with the little thing, those are the lightning rail connections. This is something that it's pretty well known that Prince Orgev is working on. He would like to get a direct lightning rail connection from New Seer across this way over here. And it would basically sort of legitimize the town and help with the transportation of goods. Because right now, stuff like the trains won't stop unless they're at a big metro place. So right now, the only way to get stuff is to have the lightning rail delivered in Starslasker or in Sterngate, and then you have to walk it. At the moment, like I said, we are 1 month past the 4-year anniversary of when everybody who's a Siren native lost everything. People are doing what they can. They're making do. There's still a lot of things for them to overcome. Orgev is being more and more respected as a leader, and is able to make pretty good ground in a lot of his dealings to get things for the city. He does have representatives of each of the 13? Each of the 13 Dragonmarked houses. He does have a couple of representatives from other places where Seer like held some sway. So right now, what we're gonna do is show you the town so that you understand the town. Basically, for this town, everything that is not this building right here that I'm circling, Justin, there was a way to ping. How do I ping?
You need a thing for it.
I installed it.
A plugin. Oh, then you just click and hold.
But it does not work.
Did you enable it after installing it?
I don't know, Justin.
You go to your plugins real quick and see if it's clicked, like if there's a check mark next to it.
How do?
Go to your settings on the far right, and then let's see, view active modules. The only active module that you have is pop out. It says that you have 9 inactive modules, so you may have the configure option for your module settings there, or your.
Oh god, everything changed.
No, just reloaded. See, there you go. You just added a bunch of things, including pickup sticks.
Okay. Now I can ping. Look at that. Look at that shit.
Now
right
you
there.
can ping. Sure, fucking all of us can ping. In fact.
Look at us. We can all ping. I want to be a different color though. How do I not be green?
Your little dot.
I think you do player configuration.
There we go. Now I'm dark red. It's still showing me as green.
How do I ping?
I think you made Dandaron dark.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did make Dander in dark red. What the fuck? How do I make me dark red?
right click on
Oh,
the
I am Dark Red.
GM
It is
master,
the way.
game master.
I
Should have player.
Yeah, player. Yeah, in the lower left-hand list.
Nope, it's still only me. Whatever. I'll figure it out later. Anyway, so the only buildings that have been here since the settling of the city are this right here, this manor house. There's buildings behind it that are basically like a stable and like a master of the grounds type of little small house, and then basically this sort of gazebo area. I would advise you at this point just kind of ignore this key because I'm going to be making my own maps here soon. So I'll tell you where things are. This key is not accurate. So yes, Prince Orgev lives in the manor, and House Vidalis is currently running the stables. But that's pretty much it for the old buildings. Otherwise, all of this is new, built within the last couple years. There's a small quarry outside of town where they mine the rocks. They build the foundation of a house. They go a little bit to the south and they chop some wood, and then they come here and they build the rest of the house. The town tends to work together on this, and they can usually get a house up within about 2 or 3 days. It's more the lack of materials than anything that's slowing them down. Of the town, like I said, there's about 4,000 people. About 2,000 of them are going to be living in these tents. So you have this district over here, which is called 3 tents. And then there's a district over to the northwest up here. There's basically a large, about 100-meter swath of like open field, like farm field, and then there's another tent town up here that's next to a large copse of trees called Clawtown. The main difference between 3 tents and Clawtown is that everybody in 3 tents looks down on everybody in Clawtown, and everybody in Clawtown understands that they're all living in tents. The people in Clawtown tend to be the shifters, the half orcs, the kind of like the people that are more likely to go off into the woods and do their own hunting, whereas the people in 3 tents are the sort of like more city dweller type. As far as Prince Orgev is concerned, this is all one city. And realistically, in his mind, this is all one district. This is all one town. They haven't split up because they don't have the size for that yet. But, you know, people tend to sort of get to their own cliques eventually. And Justin is really pasting some stuff in here.
Oh, are you seeing all my?
Yeah.
Sorry. I was dragging and adding equipment, so I've got some of my gear in my sheet now.
Yeah. So we're gonna start 3 weeks prior to the start of the game. Our 3 weeks prior to the date of Thrinador 20th. So this one is going to be for Sharut and Zaract. The two of you, well, Sharut, you've been in town for about 4 or 5 days. And you have sort of made yourself known as an able scout. And you have been asked to go into the woods and track down this boar that has basically been making life really hard on the hunters. By charging them and wounding a couple. They have given you the bodyguard / someone else who can do the same job in case you die of Zarak. The two of you have had pretty good success with this. You managed to go in and managed to take down the boar, but Zarak, well, you'll probably be able to identify this. This isn't a quote dire boar, but it's not far off. It's a huge beast. If there were 3 of you, you would be hard pressed to carry this home. It's a bit disappointing, but you might have to leave a lot of this here. Yeah, you have just been successful in your hunt to solve this problem. So I will start with you, Zarak. What would you like to do?
If this is going to be a consistent issue, I'd like to know why that's the case. Can I roll a knowledge nature to see if I can figure out what is causing this board to have grown to such an extraordinary size?
Sure. Go ahead. Yeah, with that, what you're sort of getting is just that it's not magical in nature. It's not like this is a horrid animal or
Yeah.
this is a dire animal. It's just slightly abnormally big.
Okay.
Yeah. You're not seeing those sorts of things you've seen in the Eldine Reaches where, there's spikes and bone protrusions from the hide. There's not, that like bristly hair that might as well be thorns. This is just a big, big boar.
Well, this is awkward. This beast is too large for us to bring back to camp. How much
Best-
do you know in the ways of woodcraft?
Sharut does not know much.
Hmm.
Might be able to jerry-rig something, though.
I was thinking we might be able to bury the body, whatever we don't keep, and then disguise it with odoriferous herbs. But
Could I roll?
challenge.
So, Sharut's pretty knowledgeable in engineering. Would he be able to make like a thing to help us drag the body easier?
Given your size and Zarak's kind of wiriness, making a travois is not hard. Like that's a thing you can do. If you made one, it would help you to carry more. There's no way that the two of you are going to get all of this. Like you're able to look at that and look at your knowledge and be like, this is 15 of me. It's just not happening.
Okay. Sharut suggests we take best parts, bury the rest.
Yes. I'll see if I can scout out for some herbs while you get to it, putting the sleds together, and perhaps we can dissuade the scavengers and come back for the rest.
That is hope. Yes.
All right, Zarak, give me a survival check, and Sharut, give me a what'd you say your craft?
Maybe knowledge engineering, since it's pretty rudimentary.
Nope, because you're making it.
That's just going to be a base skill then, because that's not craft alchemy.
Nope, it'd be craft. I don't know, craft survival goods.
Yeah, I could do survival check as well, probably.
Oh yeah, survival check maybe.
I would say a survival check for a travois is all right. Yeah,
I mean, it's better than plus nothing.
the old plus. nothing.
We're gonna be awesome at this.
Ah,
Nope.
God dang it!
Did it
Forgot to
wrong.
do the thing. Was the slash wrong?
No, you
Uh,
added a space.
You put a space between the slash and the roll, so it's slash roll space and then the dice that you
Okay.
want to roll.
Okay. Aha! There we go.
Great.
Oh, we're
fucking
great at this.
You grab the level of tree that you can carry, and sort of wrap this with some twine that you have on you and your own cloak to make a not great travois.
Well, not great.
Yes.
Can I do knowledge or craft alchemy to determine if there's anything like really worthwhile from harvesting for this hog?
Sure.
This one is gonna be just slightly better.
A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, so you have all of the kind of here's what you know. Like as far as alchemical things, maybe some tallow. Like if you grabbed a bunch of the fat, but you know that like the money in this, the actual use in this is a boar. The use in this is the hide and the meat. Like you're smart enough and good enough to know that if you tried to do like I'm gonna make some tallow and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this, like you're honestly just wasting food.
Okay.
There's probably some validity to the internals. I imagine that a boar of this size would make some tremendous sausages,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of validity to that.
What I need is a fine haggis.
Yeah. So
Oh.
There's no such things.
Sharut,
grabbing the offal and the meat too.
yeah, Sharut would probably he wouldn't start treating the animal then. He might actually also search for herbs to help preserve it because you can use alchemy for that as well, right?
You search for the herbs?
Yes.
So like if you have a craft skill, you're using that to craft.
No, that's not what I wanted. I'm looking up the alch path. But yeah, he would, since he's not great at survival, he would probably wait for Zarak to come and
Okay.
take care of the hide.
Correct. You're going up pretty empty. If you were to dig a hole pretty deep, you could maybe hide this for a bit, like a couple of days before it goes fully bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't have anything to hide a scent.
All right.
And you come back to witness the smallest travois you've ever seen.
That's what you've put together there is not going to be sufficient, I'm afraid.
Many
It's-
pardons. Sharut not used to making bigger travois.
Right. Well, we can spend half the day digging, or we can accept that there's a lot here. And between you and I don't see a great deal of success in trying to dig a hole large enough to fit the rest of this thing. So perhaps we just take the parts we can carry and go.
Sharut agrees. Best parts, most likely, hide, sausage meats.
Grab the liver as well, just in case.
Alrighty. Whichever of you would like to do it, give me another survival roll.
That
You're-
is all you.
No, you're tiny. You can get in the crevices. Go for it.
I get a +1 to survival. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about here because we're equivalent. As a result, you're tiny. Your tiny hands can get in
Alright.
the tiny crevices.
All right.
This fanged clawed shifter, fully a vegetarian, won't rip up the pig.
Rolling phenomenally.
Not going to do it.
Man,
No,
you guys
it's
suck
not.
out loud.
Yeah, we do.
Uh,
This is only tangentially my skill set.
So, okay, you grab what you can. It's so the thing about the hide of a boar this big is that it's real thick and it's kind of hard to cut. And you're not a woodsman. You don't have like the skinning knife that you would need and all that stuff. So you're doing what you can, but you're basically pulling off small strips.
Decidedly not a woodsman. Like
Yeah. And then you go
no.
like, all right, and we also need some of the meat. And instead of going like, and we're gonna take this leg, you like just cut some of the meat off, and it's like you get what you can. And then the two of you start heading back.
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a bit of a walk. This is something that you were out sort of ranging for a couple of days, and you had to really like follow some of these game trails that the hunters follow, and then start following some of the tracks that the boar leaves, because it seems to just rub its tusks on basically everything. And so like you finally managed to find it, and now you just have to find your way back. And so this is great. One of you, your choice which, please give me a survival roll to do such.
What time of day is it right now?
Right now it would be like afternoonish.
Okay. Zoract will give it a shot, but she's not confident.
Cool.
Gonna try to assist?
Yeah,
no,
you
I
can-
can't.
you
I
can
got-
try
I
to
don't
ass-
think I can.
You can try to assist. If you get a 10, you can assist.
Okay.
All right. You give Zoract a +2.
Hey, there we
Nice.
go.
Look at that. Look at that. You got an 18. Yeah, so you're able to go, like, even though you got a little mixed up and you guys had to do some stuff where Zoract, you were howling a couple times to make it run away, and then as it would run away, Shrewd was shooting it and shooting it and shooting it and shooting it, and then when it would come back, you would howl again, and Shrewd would shoot it and shoot it and shoot it. So there was a little bit of a mix-up, but you managed to sort of get back on the game trail.
Are we
and,
assuming that that I've got a proper bind here?
I mean, you don't need the capstone to get the howl.
That's true. If I do though, that means I got a dog as well. So that travois could be pulled by the my little friend there.
Sure, you have a dog with you.
Neat.
Yeah, so you're able to make it back to town, and even though it's late, you can kind of see the sort of hearth fires or the street lights as you're heading back, and so you're rolling into town at 11, maybe 12ish, because you reach that point where you're like, you can see the glow of the town on the distance, and it's like, we could sleep now, or we could just walk for another 90 minutes.
Mhm.
I guess we'll just walk. And you are coming from sort of this direction. It is nighttime-ish. So this is something that you were doing for a hunter from the trade district. He's the one that sort of offered a couple of gold for this. But you're coming from kind of the northwest, and it's nighttime-ish. So what would the two of you like to do?
We're like up here.
Yeah, you're like up in this sort of area.
Oh, where'd I go?
I
Oh, there.
think I have you both clicked for some reason, so every time I move one of you, the other one is just like slowly floating away. So yeah, the two of you are coming from off in this way. Is there anything specific you'd like to do at night?
Best to sell meat at tavern before it go bad. So she wants to go to the tavern to sell them.
Okay.
Yeah. Zerak's not going to oppose that. That's fine.
Yeah. So I guess the question here for you, Sharut, is do you want to go to a tavern, like capital T Avern, that is sort of in the middle of town, and this is like an actual building, or are you wanting to go to like a food tent in Three Tents or in Clawtown?
Probably 3 tenths.
Okay.
I got a feeling he'd have more pull at 3 tenths because of Shalal. I think her name was. Decided her name.
Darlaw.
So if we're taking this from a hunter, then
Yeah.
where are they located at?
The guy who sent you is he's got a house sort of on the outskirts and kind of this area.
Well, in that case, if Shrewd is going to suggest 3/10, then Zerak's going to shake her head. I'm going to take my share to Clawtown.
This is fine.
All right. So the two of you kind of like break there, divvy up the loots, which are mostly like, this is shredded hide that might be able to make leather strips because it will not make a good hide. And this is some like meat and guts that we kind of screwed up. It'll probably be all right in stew.
Yeah. Good stew.
Yeah, like, I mean, at its absolute worst, it's bacon. So like you're probably fine.
Everybody likes stew.
Yeah. And so Zaract, you guys kind of like split on the road, and you head over to Clawtown. Are you heading anywhere in particular?
There's got to be. Zerak would probably have a good idea where people gather late at night. I imagine that Clawtown is unusually active during the evening.
Yeah, because a lot of people over there can see at night.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it's not going to be overwhelmingly weird.
It's unusually active and not nearly as brightly lit.
Yeah, it's not going to be unusually weird to be bringing in a hunt at this time either. So, Zerak's actually going to feel a little bit more comfortable heading to Clawtown, and probably knows a place to catch a bite to eat that would also be willing to turn this into something useful for the camp.
Yeah, and you're able to easily find kind of like, you know, a pub tent that people are hanging out in. You've got the typical kind of like wrestling and sort of like not necessarily pit fights, because pit fights imply that there's like some permanent damage, but there's wrestling and mumbledy-peg and that sort of thing going on.
Yeah.
And you got people drinking a good amount of, you know, beer and ale, which are surprisingly plentiful in New Seer. And you are able to speak with the proprietor. And one sec. Yeah, this particular one is an orc, full orc, which typically means that they either came here or have some sort of connection to House Thrashk. And oh man, that's great. I just looked at my random name generator and the name that came up was Dig Dug. I'm not going with it, but it's great. This is a large, sort of portly orc gentleman with tusks that are, given the size of it, probably partially blinding him. And his name is Bagrek.
All right. Zerak will approach and give kind of a perfunctory greeting. I was out on a hunt and came across a decent amount of food. I figured that you could turn it into something palatable. It's not the finest cut by any imagination, but are you interested?
And he looks at it, and you see him like kind of sniff the air, and he goes, "Horse? No. Boar.
Yes, pig.
I am interested in this boar. Is there more? Do you have more?"
What I carry is the extent of what I have. The body still exists, but at this point it's been many hours and the scavengers have likely gone. If you're interested in the bones and the tusks, which likely haven't been scavenged at this point, I could point you in the right direction.
And he kind of barks out something in Orcish, and
I speak Orcish.
Yeah, he basically just calls a name. He goes, "Geralt," and a female half-orc wearing like sort of loose leather trousers and kind of a tight leather sort of like doublet over a loose sleeve shirt and a cloak. She gets up. Hold on. Check. Okay, sorry. My mic just made a weird sound and was like, "No more sound for you. You're done talking." Yeah, she gets up and she walks to you and she says, Yeah, what do you need, Bagric? And he says, the shifter says that there's more of this boar in the woods. And she looks to you and says, that the case?
Yes, it was a tremendous beast. I wouldn't say quite as large as dire boar from further to the northwest, but of a significant size.
Oh,
Certainly enough to feed quite a handful.
well, she like pauses for a second, kind of looks down, and she nods and looks back at you and says, well then, I'll grab the ogres.
Yeah, Zurak just nods. Excellent.
And Bogrit starts to like reach behind the counter, and Geralt, weird. It says that I'm speaking as Sharut.
It might be because you have me selected, maybe.
Maybe. Hold on. I will try this. No. So here's the weird thing. I can't unselect you. Okay.
Yeah, there's a secondary plugin
Okay.
that I have. that
Now
allows
I
you to do.
have. So now I'm speaking as Zeract. How do I unselect you?
I think you need a plugin for it.
I grabbed the unselect plugin. Just don't know how to do it.
It's weird.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. So Bogrick starts to reach behind the counter, and Geralt holds a hand up, and she grabs a couple of coins from her belt pouch and puts them on the table. She says, "Which way?"
And Zurak will lead her out and assist as much as she can with getting directions.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to point her sort of in the right direction as you walk over to the House Thrash enclave. The House Thrash is the only enclave that actually is in Clawtown. And when you get there, she barks out a couple of names in Giant, and then you see these two ogres kind of like trundle down, and they are all tired and they're yawning and they're stretching, and they speak to her in Giant. She speaks back, and then they kind of like perk up, and she looks at you and winks, and she goes, "They want the bacon." And
There's a lot of it.
she kind of like salutes a little bit, and then they head out. Sharut, you are going to Three Tents.
Correct.
All right. So Three Tents is basically a very big kind of tent. Or it's a very spread out tent city built up around three gigantic carnival style tents. The carnival tents are kind of like communal areas, and then most people have kind of their own tent or their family's own tent to like sleep in. Three Tents, unlike Clawtown, is pretty quiet at night. It's not like dead silent. But there's not as many, half orcs and shifters and orcs and that sort of stuff here. So there's people that need light to see who don't necessarily like the darkness, and so nighttime is not an active place for them. Yeah. What are you doing over here with your sled of guts?
I am looking for Darlal, so I can give her the bounty of which she sent me go get. Well, kind of, but yeah.
All right. All right. You are not you're able to find her eventually. Sort of tending to a couple of people that it looks like they got into a fight, and she's very sternly but quietly admonishing them and doing things to make it clear that she won't be doing this all the time by sort of poking the wounds that they've made on each other.
Kind of like tugging the bandages.
Yeah, it's one of those like, this might scar, she says as she pokes the bleeding cut on the forehead. If this scars, this would be your fault. So it's this real tiny little goblin lady who's just kind of like making a point of, stop doing this, this is dumb. And then when it seems that her point has actually, sunk into their thick skulls, she will then kind of like mutter a couple words about, idiots who learn from their mistakes, and you'll see the wounds kind of start to close.
Should listen to Darlal. She's smart. Kind of like jabs one of them in the ribs.
And you just, y'all goons should go back home if that's how you're gonna act. Yeah, we was just fooling. Nobody thought that we would, hit the tent, or hit the pole what was holding up the tent, and drop a tent on our heads, and a pole on our heads. It was a friendly fight.
All Sharut here is nobody thought. Sounds right.
And they're just, man, screw you. Yeah, so eventually they'll sort of walk off, and you're there's looking at Darlal.
I can speak normally now because we'll probably speak in Goblin.
Yeah.
Daral, I've come back from the forest after hunting the boar. Fortunately, I was not able to carry as much, as the beast was many, many times larger than I was, and, well, my companion is about as strong as I.
And she says, "Did they put you with the weakest of all the shifters? I
It's
thought they
difficult.
were a beastly people."
It's difficult to tell if she was the weakest, but I sense that she was not trained to be the strongest, if that helps answer the question.
Ah, maybe among her kind, she is a scholar.
I did not gather that. I
Well then,
believe.
maybe among her kind, she is a child.
I'm not sure if that's correct either. It's very difficult to discern.
It's. I do not know her purpose. It evades me. It vexes me.
She was very knowledgeable of the beasts in the area, though. Something that I did not have any knowledge of.
Ah, a shaman then. I have heard of these shifter shamans. And
Strange.
she will sort of like beckon that you follow her, and then she starts walking basically kind of all the way back across town.
I mean, Sharut follows.
Yeah. And she makes you tell her everything that you did in exacting detail. And like you're describing like, and she's like, the senses, the direction that the wind was blowing, the sounds that you heard, the smell of the boar, like this sort of stuff. Like she's not just going like, and then I shot it and the pig died and it was real cool. Like that's not what she's looking for.
We tracked it for 4 days. It rained on the 2nd.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Like
went west, then north, then south, then west again.
yeah.
I
And
hit it with precisely 52 bolts.
and give me just an intelligence roll here, like a D20 plus your int mod.
20 plus might. No, might's off the top. That's a good roll.
Damn.
That's a good roll.
So this is a fairly typical thing. She's a dirge singer. She's somebody who is supposed to speak about the deeds of others and the sort of, how can I put it, the legend that people have that they're building. She's never particularly asked you anything in this much detail. This is potentially a source of pride for Sharut because it seems like she's taking enough of an interest at the moment that it's like, oh shit, like she might actually sing a song about me at some point. But yeah, so she just basically leads you all the way back over to Clawtown. Because essentially what they do is just go around collecting stories, and then the three of you share a little tent in Clawtown. You, Darlal, and typically a very drunk Ryleel just share a tent. So yeah, is there anything in particular that you either want to tell her or want to go like, I leave out this detail?
No, I think Sharut would be very, very forward.
Okay.
About the entirety of the situation, the entirety of the story.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And by the time you get back, she's able to sort of recite it to you, as in like this happened, and then you did X, and then you did Y. She's going over it in the same sort of order and making it. I'm gonna put it. She's giving you an active play-by-play without exaggerating it, like what was actually happening. And it's not sung. It's just sort of, did I get all of these details right? But it's still a little impressive that she's able to just put together, okay, and this is the tale of this act.
If it sounds beat for beat, then yeah, Sharut will confirm.
Cool. Yeah, and she says that we will. I feel that I'm going to be leaving this town soon. I heard a rumor of something happening in Sterngate. This is the human town to the southwest. I will be following the road along the mountains to see if it is true. Ryleel, I do not want to speak it to you in case it proves false, for I would not have falsity cross my lips. I will, if it proves to be true, speak with one of the market gnomes and have them send a message to you. In the meantime, help out where you can and continue to seek the ruins. And, if possible, make sure that Ryleo does not use the halfling's liquor to drink himself into an early grave.
I can only be so many places at once, but I will do my best.
Well, if he wants to die forgotten in a tent, in a town, in a country that doesn't exist anymore, this is a story that everyone will forget.
Fuck.
I concur.
I think at this point, I know that we just started about an hour ago, but it's about 8 o'clock, and we were talking for about an hour off camera. So I think we're going to do a quick sort of 10-minute break so that everybody can do like a bio break and get a drink, and we'll come back around, say, 8:15.
Sounds good.
Sounds like a
Sure.
plan.
Okay. When I come back, I want to do Griddick and Dendron. So I'll be speaking with the two of you.
Okay, sounds good.
Good, brother. Yes. Yeah, good. I thought you'd abandon us. Took us to keep the stream occupied, filling the space.
Oh, you're role playing right now. I have to pee.
Yeah, I went. It was so weird. I went to take off my headset and I heard, brother. Just save it, man. Like 15 minutes. I'm sorry, we're getting started.
I have to keep this stream going. Just because we are taking a break doesn't mean they are taking a break.
I mean, it could. Go take a break, all of you. Prove him
No
wrong.
one has
Right.
to.
Yeah.
Sharut thinks
So,
it
in
means
other
they're
words-
taking break.
Honestly, I probably should get that set up where I can be like, I can play the the "we'll be right back" sort of like TV break
after
message.
these messages.
Yeah, we'll be right back, and then there's just like all the commercials and whatnot. But I know what I know for OBS is about how to press start and end. Yeah, that's it.
The sum of my knowledge in 2 words: start, finish.
Yeah. It's all the middle bits get real complicated, but I can do the start and the finish part.
I'm having issues with this is for if Justin's still here.
I am here.
Having issues with feats, the skills.
Okay, I'm gonna take a break, so I'll be back in 15.
Okay. So let's talk about that real fast because I'm actually editing feats and class features and shit right now. So what are you trying to do?
So what I'm trying to do.
Here's an example.
So like it listed as like feature usage attack measure template. I don't have anything like I see links, but I don't have any ability to add anything to it.
Hold on.
None.
What are you trying to do? Are you trying to create
I'm trying
an
to add
attack?
skill focus, so I can like modify. No, I've already made an attack. That was easy. It's making a feat like skill focus that affects my skills because I have skill focus and it affects my skills.
Skill
But I have
focus-
no means of editing that.
Skill focus as a feat already exists. Here's what you do. Go to the book looking thing. Or no, not the book looking thing. The book one, not the open book, the closed book next to the music on the and it's actually
Or
compendium packs.
Rollable tables.
Compendium packs. So
Okay.
you're 2 parts to the left. Yeah, go to the right where it says compendium packs. Open up feats.
Okay, and then do I just start clicking on them to open them?
So click on the folder feats. You'll notice that
And I can just drag and drop.
you fucking drag and drop. Now, once you've dragged and dropped skill focus onto there, you'll get an edit button. You'll go to changes, and under the changes, that'll be where all the skill, that's where you'll define what skill it goes into. But you're like, I'm putting this together, and I'm like, no, there is a simpler way. By the way, if you drop an item into your inventory, like say a light crossbow, you can click edit. And on that light crossbow, and down at the bottom, it says create attack, which allows you to then have a light crossbow attack like that. That is just automatically pulling from the weapon attributes.
Hey,
And-
there we go.
So a lot of this is automated. Like you don't, there is a certain amount of like you can jump in and custom make your shit, but also if you're really taking the time to make use of the things that are available, obviously like spheres, classes, and stuff, that's going to be a little bit different. You'll probably want to put in your class features on your own. That's certainly what I'm doing right now. But traits, feats, like if it's in the books, then you probably got them. So
Justin,
yes.
imagine I was doing something totally different. Heard you started talking about what you just started talking about and got really excited, then realized I missed the first couple of steps.
Uh-huh.
That's me right now.
Okay, so let's stop with your enthusiasm enthusiasm, and we'll start at what are you trying to do?
What did you just describe happening? It sounded like you were describing it somewhere.
Yes. Okay. So if you go into your character sheet, you can click on features, you can click on feats. You will notice that that is completely fucking empty. However, if you have that open, you can go click on the compendium packs tab, which is just to the right of, just to the left of settings. So look for the gears. Look one left. It looks like a book with with something on it. If you click on that, there's a folder called feats. Clicking on feats opens up a sub window with all of the feats that exist inside Pathfinder core. Now you can grab these if you picked up endurance or something wacky like that that exists in core Pathfinder and its expansions, it exists here. If you got something from spheres, then what you may want to do instead is to grab something that has a nice picture to it that roughly represents what you're looking at. For example, I have a feat called Healing Factor. It is a shifter racial feat. I have adjusted the tags to be shifter racial, but I used the image for toughness because it's a little heart, or it's a little plus symbol. It's a little green plus symbol. So and then I added the description of that and removed the effect under toughness.
Okay, so I'm trying to add the dwarven racial traits, and I don't see how to do that because I can't just drag and drop in the racial traits tab.
Right, because you will go grab a race instead.
I did grab a race. I applied the race.
Okay, so you grabbed dwarf?
It did change my attributes, and it changed nothing else. Skills do not have the appropriate thing that I see, as far as I can tell. Or maybe it did. I don't know. But I'm definitely doing something wrong with the feat.
Okay.
Because it needs context, it looks like. I have a skill focus. I've selected the appropriate. I do see that changes in context notes.
Yes, that's
like
where
formula that I have to do something.
Yes, that is where you're going to want to do that. Let me pop that up real fast. What skill are you trying to add it to?
Skill focus, blacksmithing.
So that's craft blacksmithing. So changes links. That actually doesn't say anything there. You may just add that to the to your skills modifier. So if you roll over to skills under craft, you would hit plus for an additional craft. Oh, this is interesting. It doesn't look like it has.
Yeah, there's no way to manually adjust it.
Hold on, I'm working on it. There's totally a way to do this using that. Give me just a second.
Okay. Hold on.
So under changes, you click the plus button on the far right side.
Okay. Yes. Yes, you click the plus, and in the formula you click it, and then you leave the other number box 0 or whatever, and then yes. Sorry. As you were figuring out, I figured it out. So thank you.
Yeah, no worries. So, but yeah, then closing that and then jumping over to skills, that does look like it applies. So that's it's pretty reasonably straightforward. Doing stuff like
they do get added to the sheet, but they don't get like planted throughout.
Okay. If that is the case, then you can probably just check to make sure. Like, if you add skill focus, it doesn't natively add that +3 bonus to your thing, and so
I have to modify it. But
right,
yeah,
so
the dwarven racial things, I don't want to drop each individual one over.
They've got a Lancer pack.
Neat. I mean, they've got. So the thing about this is that Foundry was built basically for 5th edition D&D, but it is pretty reasonably simple to code to, and so you have a ton of other systems being developed by people who just wanted to have those systems for all kinds of things. I'm in their Discord, and right now, like, there's D&D 5e, there's 13th Age, Chaosium, Cypher System, Dungeon World, Fate, Free League, Green Ronin, Modifius, Pathfinder 1 and 2, Shadowrun, 5th edition, Starfinder, the Star Wars, Sway, Warhammer, Fantasy Roleplay, and then other game systems. All of these are just individual channels for their shit. So, and those are just the active channels, like people kind of working on development stuff. You can grab junk from their whatever system is available through their download. Like, Foundry is fucking amazing. That's what I'm going to lead with.
Really good paired. Let's say rolled maybe.
So, like, I don't know how you would do if you're looking at racial traits like the dwarven hatred, I don't know how you'd fucking do that. I just don't. Dark vision ultimately isn't up to you. That's something that the GM needs to add in terms of your token vision when that applies. Greed would be easy enough. Stone cutting would be something that, because it's actually both of those are situational, so you'd probably add them on your own rather than having the sheet factor it in.
Yeah, I just have to remember the racials, which is fine.
Yeah.
So I found out scholars don't get a base attack bonus level 1,
It's unfortunate.
even though they are a martial class.
All right. I am gonna go grab something to drink while you guys are. If you need additional help, give me just a couple minutes and I'll be right back.
Like, Scholar is basically supposed to be Alchemist.
Pretty much. Just
Yeah. Alchemist didn't have, like, a good BAB either. I think it was a mid.
yeah, so I'm not entirely sure how to do that. The sheet is the issue. So I'm thinking like level 1, I'll do scholar with.
I'm just adding spheres under miscellaneous and just adding the flat jigger for it.
I think what I'll do is I'll clone it
I'm not doing shit.
at level 2. Yeah, that's
That's
probably-
our Mike.
Well, hello, friend.
Well, we call those friends. The bad times have started.
The bads times.
Yep.
There's this weird guy named John-Eric who was asking about spheres of power and Foundry.
Yeah, I was. There's somebody that's trying to move everything from spheres over to Foundry. And yeah, apparently it's like it's a feat. Like, but they're making pretty good progress.
Yeah, I
I
was actually just saying that I'm gonna have to jigger like the level system to get it to work.
All right,
Yeah.
I'm back.
All right, Eric, are you here?
Yeah, I've been here.
I done been here. Travis, are you here?
I'm here.
You here? All right. So, the two of you are relatively new to town, correct?
Well, I mean, define relatively.
Like 2 weeks ish.
Well, I suppose we got here roughly around a few weeks after our sister, dear sister.
So,
Yeah, so probably about 2 weeks ish.
Oh, yeah, probably.
So, yeah. The two of you, of course, both have pretty good minds for the forge. And I mean, both of you think that you're pretty good. Dandrin, you know that you are 3 times the smith your brother is, but both of you think that you're pretty good. But
All right.
there's a difference though between actually like, making the items and, like hammering away at the steel and the iron and shaping it to what you want and running the business. So your parents thought that the best thing to do would to be to send your sister Uswin ahead of you by month and a half or so, so that she could get the smithy up and running, make sure that all of the the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed, and that all of the papers were correct, so that when the two of you arrived, you could actually get straight to work without having to worry about that pesky business aspect of things.
Always liked Uswin. Mum says she was the best of us, and I wholeheartedly disagree.
Mum's wrong about a lot of things. Well, not that I'd ever say such a thing.
No,
Be
of
disrespectful.
course not. Just between us.
Twin does have quite the head for numbers, I'll give her that. But her forge work is, bless her heart, she tries.
Subpar, but it's okay, she's learning.
And yeah, that's pretty much like in terms of being a smith, Uswin would still be considered an apprentice. I mean, she would blow like first level like human experts out of the water, but she's still an apprentice compared, especially to you, Dandrin. So it's 2 weeks before the start of the game. So instead of it being Therendor the 20th, it's about Therendor the 5th. And Dandrin, Gruddock, the two of you are on a nice wagon, a nice caravan, riding south of town towards New Seer. And you see it as you're coming in, and man, it looks like a mess. They combined woodwork with stonework. There's tents everywhere. This place just looks like a hovel, and it's pretty good that you're driving through to shit. You're heading here. Crap.
Brother, I fear there might have been a mistake. Yes,
You know,
it's no mistake at all.
I really like the layout of the place. Of course, I'm lying, but this is a mite shithole.
We sent our dear sister here.
your wagon is following another wagon in front of you, and it sort of pulls. You're kind of coming in from this northern road, and it kind of like comes in, and then it rounds at this well, and it's coming through over to here, and then it stops at this building right here. And from the wagon in front of you, you see the person that's driving the wagon, the actual like coachman, gets down and he opens the door, and from out of it, your mother Annika and your father Durnham both begin to climb down, along with sort of a trusted attaché for your house, a fine old dwarven man named Kellark the Kundarak. So yeah, your father. Not that you guys don't recognize them, but to set the scene for everyone else, your father is a fairly wiry-looking dwarf. He's just kind of skinny. He's always been skinny. He's got this like not at all curling or even waving, just sort of straight black beard. Pretty long, pretty well groomed, but like ramrod straight. The same sort of black hair, and he stands about as tall as you, just about half as wide. Your mother, meanwhile, has these sort of like same brown, kind of like middle of back length, wavy browns that the two of you have. And she, where your father is sort of dressed like he's still in the hold, so he's dressed like he's, I've got the warmth of lava forges to keep me there, and you can tell that he's starting to regret it. Your mother is dressed like she understands what outside is. She's got her travel clothes on, and she is looking like she's only half of her 200 years of age. The Kundarak, meanwhile, is a dwarf with sort of really, really short brown hair, a really short beard. It's sort of that like picture that Commander Riker kind of thing. It's like he's got the mustache and the beard, but like there's no length to it at all. It's only about half an inch long.
Shame, really.
And the Kundarak is a man who wears, like, he shows his wealth in the many, many rings that are studding his fingers. And he shows his house allegiance with the bright blue and red and, hints of purple dragon mark that are smack dab in the middle of his huge honker of a schnoz. And he sort of gets down, and you see him kind of nod to your mother and say, "I'll be back around, but I have to make a delivery to the coin house." And she says, "Oh, of course. We do want to have dinner with the children in Uswin before we all leave." He says, "I shan't miss it, but I have a delivery to make." And he goes around to the back of the wagon, and you see him grab a chest that has that Kundarak symbol on it, and he kind of like hefts it into his hand, and he starts walking basically towards the front of this building right here. But the two of you are able to, your door opens as the coachman says, like, "Sirs, we have arrived. Will you be needing assistance to climb down?"
Oh, nonsense. We've got it, don't we, Rudak?
Yeah, of course, we've got each other.
Immediately falls out.
Immediately falls.
Shit!
Oh,
Damn it! Blast and damned it! Yeah, so the two of you get down, and you're able to sort of go into that little corner house and see the kind of smithy that Uswin has set up, and it is acceptable. It looks like most of this house, at least like the house above ground, is dedicated to the smithy, including the very small yard, which is where like the actual forge is. And when your father sort of opens the door for your mother and allows the two of you to go in, and Uswin sees the two of you, and you see this big smile on her big wide face, and she goes, "What do you think?"
Well, I think it's quite fine.
Yes, it's a wonderful town.
Oh, especially given the circumstances. But we'll get it there.
I think so. A lot of these people are using pig iron for basically everything. Nothing's fine forged. Most things are cold hammered, cold forged. They, I'm pretty sure that they thought I was a mite crazy carrying my anvil here all the way from Staraslasker on my back. But the coachman said he was going to charge me double, and you know I'm not paying that.
No, of course not.
It's nonsense.
So yeah, we've got. Let me show you around. And
Oh, please.
yeah, and she shows you around. It looks like for what she has, for the space that you all have, she has made about as fine a place as you could expect to have here. And she goes, now the house was already pre-built because of a deal that Da made, and she kind of like waves at him, and he waves and starts like he's got his little spectacles on and is examining the books. And she goes, so unfortunately it was built to human specifications, but I've got something that I'm working on that we might be able to tinker with. You want I should show you?
Oh, go right ahead, dear sister.
Yeah, please do.
And she kind of like comes back into the main room, and she goes, Ma, Da, if you need anything to drink, there's some of the fresh well water over in the barrel. And if you want something that's sure to knock you on your ass, I've got some of that Halfling's rye brew in the small pony keg on top of the table. And you see your dad look up and go, yes, mm-hmm, and just kind of like go back, and then your mom just kind of like pivots immediately to the pony keg, like, oh really? And starts walking towards it.
I do hope Ma saves some.
And then with
For such a thing, brother.
with both parents nice and distracted, Uswin kind of like leads you into a very, very small room. It looks like this was meant to be kind of a pantry, or you can't think it would be used for anything else, really. And she leads the three of you in there, or like she leads the two of you in there, sorry, and shuts the door. And then she goes, Grud, you'll have to back up a little bit, but don't open the door.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
And she pulls on a chain that's hanging on the wall, and a trapdoor comes up in the floor, and you see a ladder going down. And she starts climbing down, and as she's like climbing down, she's just talking as she goes. And she goes, now I've only had 6 weeks to work on it, so it's not a lot of progress, but I think that we'll be able to make it into something fairly nice. And are the two of you following her?
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
And you go down, and the room that you're in is about twice the size of the house. It's a good 12 feet tall and probably about 40 feet by 40 feet. Not exactly. It's not like squared off yet, but it's just, work. And she says, it's fine granite, and I've been able to put in a couple of supports. Of course, I'm nowhere near the minor of some of our erstwhile cousins, but, well, I couldn't expect me to live in some tiny little wooden hovel.
Oh,
No.
and above ground, no less.
Disgusting.
What am I?
Knowledge engineering check to kind of just assess how far she's come and like kind of get a feel for like what she needs to do next, kind of a thing.
Yeah, go ahead and give me you have engineering and architecture?
I do have engineering.
Yeah, go ahead and give me the engineering and architecture.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So, she has made, how can I put it? Your sister is very good with the numbers. She's not necessarily good with like detailed, skilled work. So what you're looking at is like she's crunched the numbers for like where she needs to put the pillars. Like you're looking at this, and this is not beautifully made at all. It will never ever compare to any of the holds. But you could probably build like a tower on top of this, and it wouldn't fall because she put support pillars in the right place, and she left like little columns of rock in places where they need to be. So at the moment, she has a pretty good start to, maybe a little fort, a little house, something like that. But
So with
but,
that,
but at the
yeah.
moment, it's basically one big room with like 4 pillars holding the ceiling up.
All right, so she's roughed it out really well. but
Yeah.
it just needs all the detail work.
Yeah, it needs all the detail work, and like I said, at the moment, it's just one big room.
Of course.
So you made yourself a room.
Well,
Well,
it's
I-
built quite sturdy, must say so.
Yes,
Everything's in proper place.
do
Bit of
not
detail.
take this the wrong way. It is a great feat.
I was thinking that I made us a room, unless you want to sleep in the pantry.
No, of course I wouldn't. Well, it does sound nice, but no.
Brother, not again. Not after last time. You know how long it took you to lose that weight.
You're right. The temptation was too great. Thank you for stopping me.
Well, up top. I only left a. Well, there's the room where I cook and eat, and then there's the sort of main lobby where people come in and see the wares, and then the large room where I knocked out one of the walls so that the forge was open to the air and didn't have a bunch of smoke inside. But
fine work.
there haven't been many places to sleep since so much of the house is dedicated to the work. And she kind of like points over into a corner where there's like a cot set up, and she goes, "I've been sleeping over there."
Yes, indeed. Well,
We'll have to change
there's
that.
3 of us. The work will go 3 times as fast.
Yes.
And she goes,
This will be a proper dwarven hold by end. I promise you that.
"We're gonna." And she kind of like, you guys had to climb down about like 10-15 feet before it actually opened into this large room.
Well, of course, you need that 10-12 feet of supporting earth in case someone tries to get down to your hold.
Yeah.
exactly.
And so she goes, "I think I'm under. She's like, I've gone down far enough that if any of our neighbors decide that they want to build some sort of root cellar, I can't imagine them ever actually poking through." And then she kind of like points off to the northeast, and she goes, "They're going to be the problem, though. I don't think that House Kundarak's coin house is just going to have some tiny little vault. It's only, a couple of meters below ground. They're going to go deep, and if we know Kundarak, they're going to spread wide. So we might have to set up something there to make sure that if the twain holds shall meet, that we're not looked at as trying to steal from one of the dragon mark."
Well,
Yeah.
I suppose we could get talking with them and coordinate our efforts, make a bit of a hive network of the tunnels.
Yeah.
It should be fine.
See why we couldn't?
I think
As long as we're upfront about it to them, it should be fine.
maybe
Yeah,
we
bring
could
in
have
the proper paperwork.
we could have
Yes.
Ma speak to Kellark, and he should be coming for dinner, right?
Last I heard, brother, did you hear such things?
That's what I heard, yes.
Yes.
Always like it when Kellark comes for dinner. So handsome.
Oh, have you taken a fancy to him, dear sister?
His beard's so short.
Yes, the way yours should be, since you work around fire.
A few singes don't mean nothing.
It toughens the hair, gets it nice and fire forged.
Yes, stronger stuff this is.
Oh, the old fire-forged hair. Hardened to steel.
Ladies
Can
love it.
use it as a shield if I wanted.
Iron bearded is a racial feat for dwarves that gives them +1 AC.
I know. I know this, and I don't like it, but I know.
That's correct.
It's the best.
So, yeah, and she goes up, and the sort of the first thing that you hear as soon as the door opens and she pops out of the pantry is your father's voice going, "Done well. I'm a bit surprised, Oos. I never thought it would do this well, not in this city." And she says, "Well, as soon as I stopped trying to sell everyone chainmail and hauberks and plate, things went better." And he goes, "Plate makes money." And she says, "Plate costs money. People don't have money here. People need knives, spoons, plates. People need the occasional spearhead, but no one's buying battle axes."
Good thinking.
And he says, and he just kind of like humps, like, "Oh, no, I never."
Oh, father, she's got a good mind for it. If anything, they'd want gambeson and leathered armor. Here, it's cheap, easily repaired. Wouldn't have to come to us every time. But I promise you, I could do fine work. But, aye, sister's right. Derus, you've got the mind for it. As we always said. Yes, right and proper. Isn't that right, Godek?
Of course. Always said it.
And you guys catch up a little bit, but for the most part, she's been working. And when she's not working on the smithy, she's working on the sort of what she has told you she calls the hold, but she doesn't talk about it in front of your parents at all. So when either of you try to bring it up, there's this.
Do you have something in your throat? Here's some water.
Yeah, we'll take the. Oh, that's the halfling's brew. That does not go down smooth.
Oh, I did. Whoops.
Well, at least Mother left some.
Yeah, that's true.
Your mom's just getting nice and sauced. So yeah, she eventually she starts cooking some basically just like some biscuits and a couple like pieces of poultry that one of the hunters have managed to bring in, and she like starts kind of ordering you guys to grab like tool benches and like the anvil and stuff like that, because there's not enough chairs for 5 people. There are enough chairs for 1 people. So to get enough seating for everyone, she's like, if you could go over there and grab that, and well, I think if we fill everybody's cup, we could turn that barrel on the side, and no one would need a drink. And then, Ma, you could sit on the barrel, and around that time,
Got an extra anvil. Let me go grab that. Brother, you go get Bushwind's anvil and scooch it over, and we'll sit on the anvils.
All right, that works for me.
a common dwarven padded seat of a steel anvil.
Correct.
More comfy than them cushions.
The elves get by it, especially in up north.
And around the time that Kellark comes back, she's setting the table, and he kind of like comes in, and you see him taking off his travel cloak and his like kind of beret style travel hat and putting it on the well, he sort of hangs it up like he would hang it on a peg next to the door, and then looks down and sees where Uswin has just kind of thrown her stuff on the ground, and he's like, Uswin, and he just throws his hat and his cloak on the ground, and then he picks his a bottle that he is carrying up and walks over to the table and sets it up, and he says, I don't know if it's a fine gift. I'm told that it's local and that it's good and that it's made by one of the Galindas. And Uswin looks at the bottle and she goes, the mead. The mead's good. The mead's real good. And the 5 of you have dinner. Your father's mostly interested in talking business. Your mother's mostly interested in talking about Uswin. And Uswin is mostly interested in talking to the 2 of you because she's super excited to run a store. And now that she doesn't have to do all the work, it might not be like killing her with how busy it is. She goes, I have so many plans. Did you know there's a quarry? There's a quarry to the southwest of town.
Oh, you didn't know that.
Is it granite quarry? Is that what they mine down there?
And she says, yeah, it's mostly granite, but there's a couple of, and she kind of like motions to you, and then to her, and then to you, and then to her, and then she's like, our folk working there, and I've got them on the lookout for veins of metal, and at this point, I don't really think it matters which metal. If they find iron, great. If it's copper, I'll take it. But we can't continue shipping everything in from the other side of the mountains or from Zilargo. It's hard to make a profit with that. If we can get a good vein in town, that's what we need.
Yes. Hopefully we come across one soon.
And go ahead.
Much cheaper than having to get it shipped in. Of course, if they ever do bring a lightning ray around these parts, which I doubt they will, mind you, but if they did, it significantly increase our productivity as it drives down the cost.
Just think of it.
Well, rumor is that Orgev's working on it. Sorry, His Majesty, Prince Orgev, is working on it. But seems like Orion's holding out for some reason. I don't really know why that would happen, but it seems like that's what's going on.
Might be trying to justify the cost. The town isn't quite thriving yet, I would say, though it's doing well enough.
Yeah,
I imagine
doesn't
once
have
it gets
enough
a bit more
stuff.
prosperous, or if we can find a proper trade here, a resource that's lacking elsewhere, that could sway it.
Something to put us on the map, as it were.
Can both of you give me a sense motive check?
Yeah, I guess I could.
Oh, Justin showed me a thing that was really disconcerting. You want to see it?
It depends.
I can.
All right.
I can do private rolls, and you guys hear the sound.
So you're telling me you're trying to outro me?
Yeah.
Well, good luck.
So Eric, you got a 12. Ooh, shit. Gruddock rolled a 20. Gruddock.
Yeah.
Take this information as you will.
Okay.
You realize something when she starts talking about Orgev is trying to get a lightning rail station set up. And it seems like House Orion isn't quite having it. Kellark de Kundarak looks very interested in this. And you can tell that he knows something, but he's not saying it. He just kind of like he looks up and then just kind of like takes another bite and turns back to your mother and continues talking to her.
I'll nudge my brother and just point at Kellark and I think Kellark knows something or two about that. Perked his head up at the sound of all that nonsense with the lightning rail and His Majesty.
Well, he does have the privilege of being in one of the Dragonmarked houses. I would imagine he's got a bit more political sway, be more fingers to the pulse of the city, as it were.
Well, you think we could get something from him? Like, information, not like mug him, but like be able
Brother,
to...
we always have to be mugging with you.
You know,
We mug
it
him.
was that one event on the way here, and it's just stuck with me. That brawl, it changed me a bit.
Brother, I've got a particular set of skills.
Brother, I understand they were trying to rob us first, but I mean, truly.
But
You have to
surely you found the humor in leaving them, like mugging them back, leaving them without their clothes and stuff.
Oh, the irony was wonderful. It's just you took the man's trousers, and that, I believe the line was crossed there, is all I'm saying.
If I
The
took
principle was fine, but the
If I
execution...
took his underwear, then yeah, that would have been too much. I thought the trousers was just a nice touch. Just the one.
I'd have taken the shirt.
All
Lesson for next time, then.
I'm going to assume that that's happening instead of progress.
Well,
Because that's really funny to me.
Happen.
Nope, you had your chance.
Damn it!
Well, like hours later, we'll roll back around to, we should probably talk to him about that lightning rail at some point.
And he's like already gone.
Yeah.
Oh,
Damn
we
it.
did it again.
So, yeah.
There's our tangents, brother.
So basically, speaking of the already gone, your parents don't stay long. Your father sort of checks the books, and then he goes through some of the what do you call it, the coin chest, and you see him like sort of counting the coin. And then he checks the books again and sort of counts the coin again, and he kind of nods, and then he pulls a few bags out and then puts a few bags in, and he opens this sort of like side pouch he carries that has where he keeps some of his like Kundarak script, his like banknotes, and he takes two of those and he puts them in the coin chest, and then he takes another and like folds it and then folds it again and then folds it again and then folds it again, and he hands it to Uswin and he goes, "You've done well. This one is going to be for emergencies. So if you continue to do well for the next year and you have no emergencies, then the three of you can just consider it as a bonus."
Thank you, Pa.
Much appreciated, Father.
And he sort of like goes to give your sister a hug, and because she has the width of the two of you and he has the width of a very malnourished halfling, she just kind of like picks the man up, and she's like, no, down, and she does pretty much the same to your mother, and then to Kellark. And then your parents do the same with both of you. It's up to you whether or not you pick up your father, but he doesn't like it, so I'm sure that his kids do.
Yes, of course.
All three of us are quite amused every time.
Every time.
Why wouldn't I? We have to show him the proper amount of love.
And your mother sort of like hugs you both and gives you each a kiss on the cheek, and she goes, "House Civis, every fortnight. You hear me? Every fortnight. I want a message."
Aye, mother, every fortnight.
It's quite often, but we'll do it.
And they leave, and after getting his beret on and his sort of short travel cloak, Killark shakes Uswin's hand, and then Gredick, he sort of shakes your hand and like clasps it on the back, and then Dander, he does the same to you, and he says,
Jester.
I've left word at the coin house that should the three of you need anything, that we're to help. So don't consider this as anything untoward or anything outlandish, but your family's done me well. I will do your family well. So
much appreciated.
if you find yourself in need of maybe that little push that one of the houses can offer, go there and you give them my name, and we'll see what we can do. And he reaches for the door, and he's like, but don't make a habit of it. Don't make yourselves a nuisance.
Of course not. Although, before you leave, we were inquiring of the sorts. If perhaps you'd like to meet up another time and talk a bit more shop. I know there was much pleasantries tonight, but business being business, it's good to know those you can trust and get along with affably and all that.
Well, I'm leaving with your parents back to Staris Lasker, but then we're splitting
good
there.
to hear it. So we'll just hit you up with a message whenever we're available, and then we can sort something out.
Of course, you know that I've always got to my quarters in Kundarak Hold, and you can send messages for me there. And if you need, I'm sure that the house could find me if I'm not in Kundarak Hold. I am one of the traveling warders, so I could be gone every now and then for weeks at a time. But you have questions for me, I'll get answers for you.
Oh, much appreciated.
Yes, thank you very much.
And he he kind of like shakes each of your hands, sort of pulls you into a kind of like one-armed kind of awkward hug, and then he like looks to Uswin and sort of nods and goes, Uswin. And she's like, Kellark. And she looks so dreamy-eyed at him, and then he leaves, and she goes, God, the two of you should shave. It does so much for the chin.
I have not seen my chin since I was a wee babe, and I plan to keep it that way.
It's only proper.
It's only proper. Flaunting his chin like some sort of hussy.
A shame.
All right.
Which brother, did you bring the die?
Of course.
Good. I hope to never use it, but you never know, brother. Okay.
All right. So, I'm gonna switch over to Lumio and Ringer.
All right.
I cede my time.
I cede my time. All right. So we're back to the whole group.
I reclaim my time.
So here's the thing, guys. Lumio, Ringer, when you signed up for this whole sort of like 2v2 thing, you didn't really know that it was going to be 2 against 1, because it says 2v2. And it was also kind of hard to tell that the guy that you were going against seems to just love taking a beating, to the point where you're pretty sure that like he's not just not really getting hurt in any sort of sustainable way, but that you might actually, through some sort of weird method, just kind of be like revving him up. But the two of you are over here in Clawtown, and you will slowly move over there. God, that's so slow. It's weird. It's like the two of you are over in Clawtown at Bagrick's bar in a pit, and by pit I mean they've pushed the tables to the side of the tent, and you are facing off against a shifter who is pretty short for a shifter. Ringer, I don't know what kind of half elf you are today, but you've got a good 8 inches on this guy. He's barely cresting like 5 feet.
I can't go that low.
And he's just like mass of corded muscle, and he seems to have kind of this inability to stand up straight to the point where he's just sort of hunched over, knees bent, and he's in full shift. Like he's got these claws on the tips of his fingers that are a good 4 or 5 inches long. And Lumio, you've hit this man with a lightning bolt. Ringer, you've hit this man with a table, a chair, another table, a warforged, and another chair. And at this point, all he's doing is just sort of like egging you on. And you just hear this like, come on then. If you're gonna put on a show, then put on a show.
Hit him with lightning again?
Okay. Yeah, give me an attack roll. Yeah, you char him. It seems to you like your lightning is really, how can I put it, drawn to this guy. There's a second where it looks like the arc of it might kind of miss, and midair the bolt just diverts to him, and you see it crackle over his skin, and as it does, you see like the wounds kind of start to break out that you would normally expect when you hit a living thing with lightning, because it's the same thing that happens to everything else.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And then it seems like slowly the wounds are starting to heal.
So not Blanca. Could be anyone else. Ringer. I don't believe this is going as well as it
There's got to be a way. We just got to keep trying.
have many ways to hit him harder.
No, but we have different ways to hit him. I've been trying a lot of blunt force. Let's try something sharp. I'm just gonna grab some bottles.
Okay, yeah. You grab a bottle that the label of which says Gauge's Gray.
Not for long, it doesn't.
Okay. What are you doing with it?
I'll just hit him with it.
Okay, cool. Roll it. It says that you privately rolled some dice, and I can't see them.
You're welcome. No, I forgot I had it on self roll.
Oh, I was like, wait, I can't even see it?
Something is fucky here.
Yeah. Ringer privately rolled some dice. That was a triple crit. Wait, what?
Yeah. He's fucking dead, man.
He just dies. He just dies.
Don't blame me. That's what the dice say.
Yep.
Yeah. You sort of like launch yourself at him, and are you trying to like do the I'm gonna break the bottle against you and then cut you with the broken bits?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, he makes hold on. Cuz I think that you have some skills that we could use to give you an estimation of what's happening here. Can you give me a perception roll here?
Sure.
Yeah, he makes an attempt to dodge, but you can tell it's kind of a half-hearted attempt. What he's trying to do is just get close to you. So it's like he tries to bat it away, but doesn't seem to care that it doesn't really work. And then for his dismissal of it, you just kind of jam this thing against his skull, where you hear this nice like thunk, and then you like rip the shards down his face. There is a lot of blood. And even as you're watching and the wound kind of starts to slowly close, there's still a lot of blood, because the blood doesn't go away just because the wound is no longer bleeding.
Right.
It's
a head wound. They're usually pretty scary to begin with.
Yeah, head wounds are,
And
kind of fountains anyway. Wow, that was really weird. I tried to move this and it just started like shaking and zooming in. Like, oh, you want to zoom in, huh? Is that how this is going to be? Right. So, Ringer, what you experience is this man reaching forward to grab your shoulders. He doesn't impale you on his nails. He just kind of uses you as the leverage to propel him towards Lumio.
No.
Oh, I see. This is when Ringer's like, I've made a mistake.
And then kind of like midair, you see this man like do this sort of tuck so that he gets real small. Like he's not magically shrinking in size. He's just kind of compressing himself so that he's moving through the air more aerodynamically with just his claws forward. And Lumio, he just scrapes those claws down the sort of like brass plates that you have on your chest.
It's been hard to replace.
Hey,
Here.
that doesn't buff. Hey.
Well then.
And he goes, as he's looking at you, he kind of like moves to wipe some of the blood that is like leaking into his eyes. And he's looking at you, Lumio, but he's talking to you, Ringer. And he goes, "Hey, Jack, you give up. I won't break your Warforged."
Oh man.
I agreed to this. Why?
Sorry, you said if I give up, he won't break the Warforged?
Yeah.
Okay. We're just gonna roll a will save, see if I actually will do that.
Sure.
I can't stop. Time to keep going. I still think we can win.
There's still a chance. All right, so what are you doing?
I hit him with another sphere.
right.
But I'm gonna aim specifically for his legs.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and give me a. So he's right next to you. So give me a concentration check, which is a D20 plus your casting stat, which I believe is +3, plus your level, which is 1. So it'd be a D20 plus 4 total. Okay. Basically, you're just you're kind of, as you're trying to channel the magic, he's just like he's just bullying. He's not actually trying to hit you. He's like slapping at your hands. So you're doing your thing of like, I'm going to be able to channel this energy, and he's like, no. And it fizzles. And you start to do it again, and he's like, come on, either fight or leave. None of this crap. Mike, what are you doing?
I'm gonna grab like another table leg, basically,
Okay.
and I'll ready a counterpunch right next to him.
Okay, and this is if he attacks.
Yeah, if he does that slap thing again.
Okay, he's definitely going to attack. He's going to attack Lumio.
Okay.
So go ahead and roll it.
I'm power attacking.
Ugh, not enough. It's sort of.
Well.
You do the power attack, and he kind of sidesteps it and comes up with another slash towards Lumio's face. That at the last minute isn't a slash. It's just a punch. It's just like straight to the side of the dome, Lumio. And he will. Yeah, he just kind of like clunk off the sort of metal of your head. It doesn't hurt, but it's not pleasant at the same time. It definitely could have been worse. What would you like to do?
Ponder out loud why a caster is in a fist fight. And then attempt to punch him.
I'm gonna say that Sharut. I'm gonna say that Sharut is the shifter.
Oh, okay.
Wait, what?
He's using you as a token, not.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Wait, is that you zapping him again, or are you punching him?
I'm punching him.
Nice. Yeah, you actually connect. You just kind of like, dong.
Yeah, it's kind of like C-3PO hitting someone.
Yeah.
The entire crowd is stunned.
It's also pretty clear that he definitely didn't expect it, and or if he expected you to flail, he didn't expect you to connect.
Yeah.
So there is that like bong, and he's like, what? All right. Mike, he lashes out at you in an attempt to trip you. Oh no, wait. I already said that he was at. It's actually your turn. So it's your turn. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna just repeat. Do you want to do it again?
Okay.
Still have that table leg.
Yeah, and you see that like he's kind of stunned, and you see those like really thick claws retract for a second, and he's like, "What the?" And he looks at Lumio, and then you see those claws just kind of like slam back out. And go ahead and roll your attack.
Damn it.
Wow, and I got the same thing. Yeah, Lumio, you were able to kind of like backpedal away from him as he's coming for you, but you've kind of stunned him, and Mike is just continually swinging at him with furniture. So like you're just seeing Ringer like picking things up, and the entire bar has just become Ringer's armory as you're backpedaling and channeling magic. What would you like to do at this point?
I don't want to be close to him, but obviously he wants to get rid of me first. He didn't even bring a second guy into this fight. So I'm gonna try to kick him.
Okay, go ahead and roll it. Jesus, you keep hitting him.
Stop it, please.
Okay, yeah, you just like you're doing the sort of hand flail thing, and he keeps batting your hands away with his claws, and he's trying to get close enough to like sink them into that sort of like wooden flesh bit that separates the Warforged plates. And just as he's getting close, you kind of like thunk him real hard with your metal foot right in the knee. And he's like, ah, fuck, are you serious right now? Ow, God, ugh. Mike.
Your plaything.
I mean, this is the one tactic I know works. I just need to roll high enough to make it work.
Okay, so you're gonna go forward and counterpunch again?
Yep.
All right.
There we go.
Yeah, you go forward and you're like, I'm gonna ready an attack in case he attacks, and he's just like this berserker, just whirlwind of claws and growls, and so it doesn't take long for you to just like club him in the back of the head, and because he's not really facing you, he kind of stumbles forward, and you hit him again, and he goes down, and he's kind of on all fours for a second, and he seems stunned, and you can see that like kind of gash in the back of his head, and then he just starts to like push himself up off the ground. Lumio, what would you like to do?
Jump on top of him?
Sure. Give me a CMD roll.
270 pounds.
Yeah, give me a CMD roll. I'll give you a +2 to it, so a D20 +2.
Okay.
Okay, C-3PO desperately goes, ah! And leaps on the back of this shifter. The
Again, weight 200
the crowd is going nuts. There's just this like, ah! And then like, Mike, you're in the identity, I guess, of Jack today. And so there's these people like, Jack! And you're like hitting them with the club. And then, Lumio, when you jump on the back, there's just this, Lumio! And, Mike, it is, Ringer's turn again.
This is the first time I've seen Lumio, like, do hand-to-hand combat. I don't really know what to do here.
Hit him!
He definitely isn't good at it. You can tell that what he's or who he's attacking is just real surprised it's working. Probably just as surprised as Lumio is.
I'll grab another chair, I guess, and
just hit him again.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, he's going to go ahead and make the attack because he's going to end up trying to claw at Lumio to get him off.
No, I did.
And you'll get well, you don't get a bonus to this. He just gets a penalty because of dex. Yeah. So go ahead and roll it.
Already did.
Oh shit.
Got a 22.
Yeah. So basically, between the two of you, I'm gonna put it. You're not able to really knock him out. You're able to keep him down for so long that Bagric just calls it. And so Bagric goes, all right, looks like the winner of tonight's bouts are gonna be Jack and Lumio. And then
that hand raising thing, being triumph stuff.
And you see some sort of grumbling in the crowd, and there's people that are like, ugh, and they're exchanging bets and stuff like that. And a very, very sort of well put together, does not belong here at all looking gnome walks over to the pair of you and says, if I
autographs for 3 silver apiece.
You know what? Yeah, fair. Sure. And you see this person kind of open up a case on their side and pull out a small sheaf of paper, and they rifle through it, and then they take out two small pieces, and then they take out an inkwell and a quill, and they grab a small knife and they sharpen the quill, and then they put that down. And she puts 3 silver in front of you, Ringer, and 3 silver in front of you, Lumia.
That's the first time anyone's ever done that.
She goes, might be the first time that you've ever won.
You know what? That's fair.
She goes,
I am not a close-range fighter, Ringer. I have told you this many times.
Look, I don't know why he wanted you so bad. It worked.
And the gnome kind of sort of like shakes a hand and a head at the same time, just She says, Wogan's always going after the Warforged. Something about last war in Karnath or Thrain or something. Old habits, old dogs, no new tricks. You know.
Sentinels. What?
And she looks to you, Lumia, and goes, but you, I've seen casters enter these before. Artificers, a sorcerer, a warlock one time. I saw a warlock do it. Real weird that. But they all had, the warlock was this bugbear, big guy, real big, even for a bugbear, real big.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a scepter, and he could sort of make like a glaive, like a big pole arm around the scepter. Sorcerers tend to I'm gonna cast a spell or I'm gonna summon my demonic ancestry, and they make a like claws or a breath of fire or something like that. I've never seen one just kind of panic and throw their body at someone. It's an interesting tactic.
I had a moment of terrible epiphany where it said, if you can't cast spells, cast yourself. And that is what I did.
Huh.
I was as surprised as everyone here that that's successful.
Well,
Yeah, no, I mean, desperation clearly works for you. We just gotta put you in more situations like that, and you'll get even better.
please, in the future, just never tell anyone that desperation works for them. Desperation means that whatever you're doing is not working.
Couldn't have said it better than myself. And Lumio gives a facial alignment to Ringer that seems to be that squinting look, like hatred is involved, but doesn't have the ability to make that facial expression at all.
His eyes don't glow red, but they feel like they're slightly redder.
Yeah. That's exactly what's happening.
And the gnome takes basically you like Lumio, did you sign the piece of paper?
Which piece of paper?
Like she also wanted your signature.
For what purpose paper?
She goes, it's an autograph. That's what your friend said.
An autograph?
This is what I wrote down.
You paid 3 silver for this. Check.
But there is a kind of contractual terms up at the top.
No, it's a blank sheet of paper.
Oh, okay. Then Lumio
Yeah,
signs-
when you look at it like it's sort of it's a deceptive piece of paper. The gnome puts an arm forward and sort of she grabs the hem of her sleeve and pulls it up, and on the back of her right forearm you see this swirling kind of red and blue mark, and she says, "I guarantee you, there's nothing untoward about that. Someone like me using a fake contract would be considered untoward."
Indeed, it would. Then I will happily autograph your paper.
So what do you sign it with? Because I'm curious.
It'd be the sigil that's on his head.
Okay, so he puts his Golra down, and then does he like write the word Lumio or something?
Yes.
Cool.
That seems close, correct?
Okay, so yeah, you write down the mark on your Golra, and then you write Lumio, and she looks at that, and she looks at Ringers. Can the two of you please give me a sense motive check?
Sense motive based on?
Wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe you're at like
Boom.
just a D20 plus 1 or plus 0.
Yeah.
Damn. So Lumio, you get that she is not at all interested in Ringer's autograph. Ringer, you get that, but on top of that, you get that she's very interested in Lumio's autograph. And she goes, "Well, I'm gonna cherish these, and I just if the two of you make it big, I could say, hey, I was there, I got the first ones, there's pretty good pits, well, not in this town. There's no good pits here. But if you were to go down to Trollenport, Korenberg, Sharn even, Rote maybe, you can find some good places if that's where you want to go. And, if you decide to go to Trollenport or Korenberg, I could arrange a couple things for you, if you were interested."
I might
Kind
be.
of life that is too fast for one such as Lumio. One I will consider.
Well, yeah. If that's something that you want, just seek me out. Let me know. I'll do what I can to help out. Always good to help a fellow citizen of New Seer. And Lumio, she kind of like raises a small hand to shake yours.
I offer it.
Yeah, and her hand's about big enough to like wrap around one of your overlarge fingers and give it a real brief shake. She goes, It's been a pleasure meeting both of you." And she goes, "Lumio, check. And like she's trying to like remember what it was. Like check. Yeah, that's what it was. It was check.
It's on the paper in front of you. It has my name on it.
Uh-huh. And she folds the papers and she puts them in the pouch at her side. And you see her start walking away.
Looks like you have a fan there, my friend.
An odd interaction.
Well, yeah, when you're starstruck like that person was with you for what,
Falling.
they get real nervous.
People have odd standards around here. I will learn them soon, I hope.
And yeah, the two of you, you basically, not that I know how useful this might be for you there, Lumio, but the two of you sort of drink for free for the rest of the night. And then basically before sunup, Bagric will throw a couple of coins your way and say, "This is your portion of the winnings." And you get like 3 gold apiece.
And
But
it, I mean, thank you, but still, this is gonna take forever.
take forever for what?
I used to, kind of a long story.
Time and I'm in an active list.
That you are.
Text subtle tone of annoyance.
I'm not annoyed.
Hold on. Andy, you're getting quieter by the sentence.
Yeah.
Discord hates me, and I have gone through 3 mics in the last 3 days trying to get that thing fixed.
All right, I'm gonna
It's not
bump you up.
fixed.
I'm gonna bump you up to 150 so I can hear you.
I had him at
All
200%, and he's still a little quiet.
Yeah, I had to switch to a headset yesterday, and well, there's no reason for what's happening to be happening.
Okay, cool. I'll just turn up the volume then.
Cool.
Um,
Pump up the jams.
yeah, we will pump these jams up. As the two of you start to walk away, Bagric goes, "Lumio,
Yes, Bagric.
Wogan won't like that I made you win. You would have kept going and going.
That is true. Thank you for the warning.
Jack,
Hmm.
you broke 3 of my tables.
Huh?
I expect new tables."
Okay. I don't know how to make tables. I know how to break them pretty good, but I'll see if I can find someone who will get it for cheap.
Yeah, figure it out. All right. So, to everybody, it is now the morning of the 20th of Therendor.
Still owe Bogric 2 tables.
Old Bogric, I got him one. The Sornath brothers, you have been in town for about 2 weeks. You're, been busy at the forge and occasionally busy underground, like carving and working stone and that sort of thing. To Lumio and Ringer, the two of you mostly are stuck doing kind of odd jobs because odd jobs are most of what people have to do here. To Zaract and Sharut, the two of you have seen each other around for the last couple of days or couple of weeks, but you're not necessarily working together. You're both kind of doing the same tasks, but not necessarily doing them side by side. There's a lot of Zarek gets a job to help somebody out or go find something in the woods, and Sharut is coming back from having gone hunting or gone gathering or just examining something that someone said might be a fallen runestone. So there's a lot of passing each other as you're coming back and forth into town or seeing each other in Clawtown, but not necessarily, always working together. It's currently, like I said, it's the morning of the 20th, and this is kind of a Siren holiday. Not a holy day, but just kind of a holiday, because it's the Queen's birthday. It's Queen Mashan's birthday, and though Queen Mashan is gone, a lot of people look to Queen Mashan as sort of like she kept Seer going as long as she could. And so this is something that people tend to celebrate, and so there have been a lot of plans over the last couple days of this is something that we'll do that'll pick up everybody's spirits, because 4 years since losing our homeland sort of sucks, and at least for the Queen's birthday, we can all come together and we can feast and we can be a country, like a unified country once again. There's a there's a number of things that people need from kind of different places. Like we're gonna send some people up to Star Slasker with the next Vidalis caravan to get some fruit and some wine and bring it into town and that sort of thing. It's sort of like immediately after the anniversary of the Day of Mourning, people are setting up for like, we gotta get these bad feelings out of here and figure out how to like party that shit away, because otherwise it will just wreck us for weeks at a time. So I would like for Ringer and Lumio and Zeract and Sharut, can each of you please give me a diplomacy check?
I have minus.
I think I fixed this on the sheet, so let me see.
Yeah, I think it did as well.
Apparently
Noah
on
goes
our
to roll, and it's like Sharut has dealt 8 damage to himself.
Oh no!
Sharut is confused. He hurt himself in his confusion.
Yeah. I always wanted to see he hurt himself in his confusion. It's super effective.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so not so much Lumio, probably because you're off studying, sort of doing your thing somewhere. But Sharut and Zeract, as you're sort of walking through Clawtown, kind of like trying to get a daily task to sort of keep you occupied, and build a bit more of your rep. A shifter named Gosman stops, and you know him as kind of like he's one of the elders who works for Alder.
Mhm.
And he pauses and he looks at you and goes, "Zeract, has Alder spoken with you yet?"
No, haven't been. Well, I was looking for something to do. Is there a need?
There is. I believe even now, she goes to speak with the Moormen. You will meet them at their smithy. You know the location.
I've been there once before, once or twice.
Well, she is not so young, not so spry. You go now. You can catch her. Save her from explaining herself twice.
Yes, of course.
And
Zeract
as you start,
turn a bitch.
yeah, and as you like start to walk away, and he goes, "Zeract, take that goblin."
She pauses for a second,
And he says,
realizes
"Alder likes him."
no idea. Fine, I'll just see if I can scrounge him up somewhere.
And yeah, Sharut, you've been told that Alder is sort of like looking for you somewhere, and you're going to all the places that Alder frequents, and you're just not really able to find her. But you see Zeract kind of looking around.
I'm assuming Zeract looks like he's looking for somebody in particular. So I'll or Sharut will run up to Zeract and be like,
Can you help find Alder?
You're not as ignorant as I imagined. Well, that does ultimately serve the purpose. Yes, I can. She's asked for your presence anyway.
I know this. Best not to assume ignorance.
and yeah, I suppose
Zeract
so.
like growls under her breath a little bit. It's a little presumptuous.
Motherfucker doesn't even know.
Yeah. And as she's walking through, what's with you and the elder anyway?
Don't know. Just looking for me. This is what I hear.
All right, fine.
Yeah.
Left it.
And you just know that like those 3 goblins have just been so helpful to everyone, like uncommonly so for goblins. That just kind of made an impression.
And it's frustrating because that's the impression that she's trying to make.
Yeah, it's just that sure, it's like likable and approachable.
calls people out on their bullshit. I mean, what?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Ringer.
Yes.
You were sort of doing your rounds. Which half elf are you today?
Not Jack. I haven't made names yet.
All right, so you're walking around as Glim. Glim is built about like all of the other half elves and about as bald as all of the other half elves, but has a like slight sneer to the lip. And you turn a corner and just kind of into just a walking wall of metal. And you've probably seen this walking wall around. And you know that a lot of people in town call this thing Stalwart. This is
Stalwart. You gotta put a bell on there or something, man.
You see the chest plates kind of lift and then go down. That might have been a laugh or a snort or something. It's hard to tell. Stalwart is closer to 8 feet tall than to 7. He's really, really wide. He's covered in these thick adamantine plates, and most of those plates have jagged spikes along the edges, or some of them in the middle. And Stalwart kind of points at you, and then points to himself, and then points to the sky.
Can Stalwart talk? Because I don't know what that means.
You've never seen him talk.
I just like pat him on the shoulder, like, okay, bud, and just kind of try and walk past him.
And yeah, that like he just sort of moves in front of you, and he points to you, and he just holds it. He's just like pointing.
All right, what? What do you want?
And then he points to himself.
Yep, that's you.
And he shakes his head, and he points to himself again.
Go with you.
And you see that you have disappointed a big metal wall. You see him just sort of like hang his head and like, ugh. And then he brings his head up and he nods, and there's that like creaking, shrieking like metal on metal when he nods, the like, and he lifts a hand to sort of wave you after him.
All right. I mean, this is.
And
Nine today.
as you're walking, you see a very small girl, like a small child, about 6 or 7, sort of like walking up to the pair of you, and she goes, "Excuse me, Stalwart?" And he stops, and he kind of like holds a hand out to stop you too, and he just like he kneels, and when his knee finally hits the ground, it just kind of shakes the area around you. There's just like, and he makes a motion with his hand, like go. And the girl goes, she says, I was asked to tell you that the straps for the ox plow broke, and we can't finish the field to the northwest because that other plows are all being used for the fields to the southwest. And you see him like reach into he's got a little pouch at his side on a belt, and he flips open this notebook, and he takes out this very sort of like thick piece of chalk, and you see him write "N.W. Field" in the notebook, and he just like closes the notebook and he puts it in a pouch, and he stands up, and the girl holds him out a small bag, and he nods and he takes the bag, and the two of you continue to walk. As you're walking, you see Stalwart kind of reach into the bag, and he pulls out this like, it's basically a sausage. Like he pulls out a sausage. It's a kielbasa. And he hands the bag to you in case you want one, and then you get to see a Warforged eat. And by eat, I mean taste. Because what he does is he puts it in his mouth, and he chews it up until it's just mush, and he just kind of spits it on the road as he keeps walking. And he's just... It just sounds like gears grinding together as he's going. Just...
Man.
And
I don't ever tell you you're real intense.
And you just hear that like that makes you know that he slightly nodded.
It was Lumio. Lumio's the one who told him he was intense.
Yeah, and he sort of like walks you into the kind of 3 tents area, and he's looking around, and eventually somebody just sees him looking around and says, Stalwart, you looking for someone? And you hear that, and he goes, who? And he points to you, and then he points to himself, and he goes, you're half-elf? And and they go, oh, his Warforged. And he kind of like, and you see him like nod yes, and they go,
oh, Lumio.
And then Stalwart like, and you just see him kind of like so disappointed.
Like the heavy plates on his shoulders just kind of like shrink.
Yeah, it's just kind of like all the metal just slamming together like, fuck. And so, like, he kind of looks at you and makes that same motion he made to the girl of like, go on, where?
I'll go to where Lumio is. I would assume he was at the feast, but he took me here for some reason.
Well, I mean, it's like 7, 8 a.m. It's morning.
Oh,
like there's not a feast yet. There's just people prepping because this is a celebration day.
I would expect he's actually helping prep.
Okay. So Andy, what's Lumio doing?
The exact opposite of what he said.
Learning how to nod quietly.
It's a great mystery to the Warforged people. Lumio's probably directing some of the early setup stuff.
Okay.
Because he's got that great mind for planning and stuff.
Yeah, and people just seem to do what you say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
really convenient.
It's really convenient for you, and sort of weird for the people that are like, yeah, sure. Wait a second here. Hold on a minute.
Don't think about it too much.
Yeah. You feel the earth shaking and see Stalwart coming your way, and then you kind of see a bald half elf come from behind him.
Oh, Stalwart?
And Stalwart lifts a hand and slowly waves.
Yes, that's exactly correct. And you've brought
Lumio, you don't recognize your old friend Glim.
No, I do not have an old friend Glim. I have a current friend Glim. Anyway, thank you for bringing him. Who brought who?
A little column A, little column B. Stalwart apparently wants to talk to you about something.
I see. And he looks at Stalwart expectantly.
Stalwart points to you, Lumio, and then he points to you, Glim, and he kind of, because you guys are in the sort of center of town. So what he does is he moves to here so that he's on the side of the well, and then he points this way.
Yeah, I didn't see the ping.
Sorry, he's standing here.
Yes.
And he points this way.
Do I know what that building is?
Considering that you got hurt a week ago, yeah, probably. Because that's the Beth Smithy in town. Even though it was sort of like superficial damage, if you wanted to get it like buffed out and actually repaired, that's probably where you went.
Yeah. Stalwart, are you looking for repair?
He points to you, and he points to Glim, and he points to that house, and then he makes this motion that says like "Go forward."
Can it wait? I have some duties to attend to here.
And he
I'm
points
not
to
going to
you.
argue.
And he points to Glim, and he points to the house, and he makes a motion that says "Go forward."
You still need your neck maintained. Please see to that as soon as possible. And I said, follow me, Glenn. Apparently, we are to go to the smithy.
Yeah. Well, Stalwart, it's been a pleasure. Great talking to you. Thanks for the sausage.
And you get the creaking of the metal on metal on metal.
We're going to try and get that belt for you, though.
So it's not that, he's old and rusty. It's just that he's covered in so much metal that movement makes sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. Warforged Juggernauts are a weird thing.
Yeah, they have disadvantage on stealth greater.
Yeah, pretty much. Roll 3 times and take the worst roll, and then throw that roll away. You rolled a 1.
Okay. Rolls 3 times, does it anyway.
Yeah, so that I will actually hold on. For those watching, that's what a regular Warforged looks like, and that's a Warforged Juggernaut. So a skinny version of this one is Lumio, because Lumio is pretty thin. A beefier version of this one is Stalwart. Yeah, so the two of you head to the inn.
To the blacksmith, yes.
Sorry, to the blacksmith. Cool. So
on the way, I mentioned to Glim that Stalwart has a great humor.
You know what? I believe you. I wish I could experience it.
I know you to be truthful and honest. So Dandarin and Griddick, the two of you are in the smith, sort of like, kind of prepping for the day, right? This is probably not going to be a work day. This is more of a sale day because there's going to be a fair, so you can take some of the baubles that you've made, the small things. And Uswin's been telling you so during the fairs you just set up and you sell your trinkets, and the humans will buy whatever.
Like this bag of nails.
Yeah, they might need nails. Or
I've
you can
made
get
quite-
bigger ones, like spikes, for the tents. Or pulleys, or whatever.
Just grabbing random things as she's running around.
Yeah.
This thing. You could sell this thing.
And as the three of you are talking, there is a knock at the door that doesn't wait to be answered. It's more of a "Hey, I'm here" knock. And then the door opens, and you see the alpha elder of the sort of shifter group that is here, which is a shifter woman who's about 35. And she's flanked by sort of a real burly looking male shifter, who's got like, like full on the huge chops, and he's got like the long hair, and the kind of like, this vest is open all the way down to my navel. Look at all the chest hair, kind of like I am a hide shirt kind of dude.
Yeah. Does he have a beard?
Shifters usually don't have a beard. They have like the sort of bald chin and then huge mutton chops. Because look, I'm gonna be real honest with you here. Shifters are supposed to just be Wolverine. They're just Wolverine. They're Wolverine and Sabretooth, every single one.
That's a honestly, that's a damn shame.
He's not completely wrong there.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Yeah, they and then on her other side, there's a shifter female, nowhere near as burly as the big guy, but sort of walks in and sniffs the air, and then you see her kind of like scrunch her nose up like a little bit, like she smells something foul. And the two of you, I don't know. It's up to you if you have actually met any of these three people. The one that's typically the most outgoing would be the Elder. But if you've been to Clawtown, you might have met the other two.
I think we know the Elder, or at least Grudix does.
The Elder's probably been in and purchased like the basic like hinges because someone's finally putting up a door, nails to board something up, stuff like that. Like the typical things.
Yeah, like and that seems to be what the shifters and the half orcs and the orcs and all of them kind of like buy in town is utility stuff. They're more likely to ask you to like sell them a couple of tin cups than they are to, hey, make us an axe.
Yeah.
Or
course.
if they do want an axe, it's like, make us a hatchet. That way it's a tool and an axe, Elder comes in and she says, I'm told that of all the dwarves in town, the three of you are the three that are actually from the holds.
You heard right.
Aye. How can we help you, Elder?
That means the three of you know your way around a large stone hole in the ground.
That would be a good assumption, yes.
Well, our town has a large stone hole in the ground, and there's a problem with it.
Where would that large stone hole in the ground be? Oh, the quarry.
And you see the female shifter kind of like smile, and the male's like, damn, and he kind of like throws her a coin. And as Alder is talking, Lumio and Ringer, you two kind of make it behind the smithy and off to the front door about the same time as Zaract and Sharut make it to the front door.
Oh, we don't have enough chairs.
Oh, I'll grab... No. Today's not going to be a work day. I'll grab the anvils.
Right.
I'll
get
grab
this
the
all
anvils.
sorted out then.
And Alder says, I think that two of you, well, or she actually says the three. She says, I think the three of you would be needed in helping out Zaract and Sharut here when I send them in to handle the problem.
As just sort of miners and such, or in what capacity?
So they're the muscle, is what you're saying.
No. In this case, the two of you would be the hunters, and they would be the guides. If we were in the woods, that might be different.
What's hunting?
And she kind of looks down and shakes her head, says, that I don't know. That I don't know, because every report is different. Some are reporting skittering, some are saying that rocks are shooting through the air and slamming into them. We can't lose more. In the last 2 days, we've lost too many. And she looks to you, Zarek, and says, by this point, I've managed to keep it quiet. But 1 orc and 3 shifters lay dead. All who lack the skill necessary to hunt above ground. And their skill was more in, well, the strength of their arm. And they used the strength of that arm to mine stone, to build the houses. and she'll look back to Gredic and to Dandrin and say, most of those who are the dwarves who are assisting with the quarry are city dwarves. They're Siren born, Siren raised. They've never been to a true mine. So while
Every dwarf should go once at least.
At least.
While His Majesty is asking Turk to assist with mercenaries, or speaking with House Thrashk to see what kind of deal can be made, I have people who need to work for their coin so they can buy their food. They can't do that. I don't have the time for this. I need more born dwarves. I need good fighters. I need those who... And she kind of like motions to Lumio, and she says, I need those who can take a beating from an enraged shifter and not go down, and then like motions to Ringer and says, and someone who's, well, willing to beat that downed, enraged asshole.
I feel like there's a story here that
Hello
we should
again,
probably
Wogan.
cover at another time.
Yes.
Oh no, it's not a story. We were participating in a fight for money, and he lost.
Good story.
Wogan, by the way, is not here. Like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, Alder is Alder's a older female shifter. And by older, again, she's like 35. She's the oldest shifter in town, so she automatically gets the position of alpha.
I thought you had described someone being with her.
There's a different. There is a sort of a burly dude with her, but it's not Wogan. It's he's big and burly, whereas Wogan is sort of squat and burly.
Oh, okay. That would be the difference that I missed.
Yeah, sorry.
They all look
And
the same.
she says, the pack has put together a bit of coin, if you need coin to do this. If you don't
We
need
do.
coin to do this, and you would rather deal in favors, or trinkets, or escorts through dangerous lands, that we can do as well. But I have a fear that they might have broken into a nest of some sort, and they don't precisely know what they're dealing.
I'll need
Well-
neither coin nor trinkets. We can discuss the future of Clawtown and our place in it when we return.
And she'll meet your eyes and nod at that.
Sharut would only like tomes, history, ancient, if possible.
That I do not have, and I don't know if anyone does, but I will ask. And any who possesses such a thing, should you venture to this nest and aid us in completing our daily duties, such a book would be yours, or a copy of, if they don't wish to part with.
Sharut, I think, yeah, he nods in agreement.
Okay.
That's
And at that, she kind of like looks to you, Gredic, and Dandrin, and to Uswin as well, and says, "I know this is a lot to ask. The three of you ventured here to be smiths and shopkeepers, but some of us don't have such an easy life, and a life hammering rock so that others can build their homes is something still to be proud of. And now they can't do this.
Good fine work.
Yes.
Honest.
Solid
Honest.
work.
So, if she looks or motions to Zarek and says, I trust Zarek. Zarek is reliable, good hunter, a proven success rate. But these are not woods. This is a man-made cave that, if some of these rumors are correct, has crossed into a non-man-made cave. They will need your guidance here.
Well, we've got to do it for our dwarven brethren. One way or another, show them how it's done.
And to keep the good name of the holds.
Of course. Maybe inspire them to take up this delving thing for serious.
Yes.
Perhaps. Uswin, if
Right.
Gredic and I go, would you be capable of tending things on your own again? I know it's asking a lot, but...
Oh,
And it being so soon.
you're both to come back, right?
Well, that
That's
is
the
plan.
plan.
You better.
I think that's why Stalwart sent us here, so that we could make sure they survive. Speaking of which, normally I'd ask for a lot of money for them, but this is so the town can survive. All I need you to do is provide 4 really good tables to Bograk.
And
Really sturdy ones.
They'll have to be made out of stone. I'm not
Yeah.
quite good.
yeah, you'll see Alder like yes, this we can do. We'll try to make them sturdy enough that you can't break them the next time you go to Bograt's pit.
We'll make them out of basalt. That's nice and heavy. Not likely to flip those tables. Expensive, though. We'll get back to you on it.
And for Dendron and Uswin, she'll nod like real solemnly. Your sister doesn't quite have the same sort of like fighting spirit. If somebody were trying to attack the house, would like defend it to her last breath. But going outside to look for a fight? No, that is for other people. So she just kind of nods and says, yeah, I can run the booth, but I'll be carrying my axe.
Yeah, good.
Either you get into trouble, you come running, and I'll protect you.
I'd expect nothing less.
It's good to know our dear sister's looking out for us.
No, we're safe now. World, watch out.
God damn it.
Like, you think we're being sarcastic, but we genuinely mean it.
I know, everyone laughs, but we're like, what?
She's quite capable.
You should see her fight.
I would rather not. Although there is a pit.
Although
I just immediately turn to the sister, don't go to the pit.
Happy to.
and Lumio, Alder looks to you and says,
Cash is fine.
she kind of pauses and nods, and then she says, I need you around because the tunnels are too small for Stalwart to fit.
Indeed.
But mines can be a dangerous place with dangerous things inside. And some of those things that might hurt a flesh and blood man or woman won't affect you at all.
As a parent, there are benefits to being one such as I.
So, should the worst happen, and we need to prep for something, or send in more men, I need you to do what you can to get out of there. I don't know why I'm going Irish. I need you to do what you can to get out of there, and to make it to me, so that I can warn the rest of the town.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't know if Lumio would know this, but what she's like referring to is the fact that like basically like poisonous gas and that sort of stuff. Like Lumio doesn't breathe, so he doesn't care about that stuff.
That's I believe what I'm conveying by my carefree attitude towards
Okay.
you. Exactly.
No, I was just giving a bit of extra info. Sorry. But yeah. And she says, there is no timeline for this, but the quarry is a 3-hour walk away, and, well, if the lot of you plan to make it back to the festival by the end of the day, you'll be needing to leave soon.
Sounds like we'll be leaving.
Well, no
now.
time like the present.
Shrewd would like to see festival.
And
Let's get to
Shrewd starts walking in the wrong direction because he does not know where the is.
Well, I'm gonna follow this guy. He knows where he's going.
This little guy, he's got charisma.
This goblin looks like he
He
knows the
really
way.
doesn't.
Let's follow him.
No,
He really
no.
doesn't.
But where are they going?
Stop, all of you. No, it's
Oh.
that way.
I-
And like Ziract is just mad and points in the general direction. And she's like, "How do you not know where the quarry is?"
Of course I know
Apologies.
where the quarry is.
Do I work in a quarry?
Much appreciated, Zarak.
And he starts walking in the correct direction.
She'll give Sharut just the slightest of nods, and only because they kind of work together sometimes.
Yeah. It's like he's a fuck up, but he's like your fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like, "Yeah, all right, I'm gonna let that one pass." And then like she looks at the others and she's just glaring. Just like,
It's
what
like
is wrong with you?
you guys get no excuses.
I know the way to the quarry. I have been there many a time.
I go in there to breathe the poison gas, just to make fun of the humans.
That's how he laughs.
He stands just in the area where the poison gas is and then points at all the miners on the other side. It's like, ha ha.
Playing laugh,
Reminds
dot
over
wave.
here.
Reminds me of Galaxy Quest. We need your help.
Loading giggle.mp5.
Oh no, it's corrupted. Oh.
That's a
Loading
grudge.
back up. Buffer.
Oh, hey.
That's a grudge.
Well, I don't like that at all.
Why does his face have this circle that just keeps spinning?
Uh,
Nothing's happening.
All right. So, before you guys head out of town and into the wilds, is there anything that anyone specifically needs to do or wants to do in town?
I do need to do an upkeep about the salves before because I do have to do a check to make those.
So you need to make your formula.
Yeah, I want to make like I
You
since
big baby.
this is like towards the middle of the day, so I'd assume Sharut would have more time to do this. So I'm
No,
gonna
this
say,
is not towards the middle of the day. This is like
oh,
7:30 in the morning.
oh, okay. Then I'm gonna say, let's say he had an hour to prep, so
Sure.
he can make two salves, or he
Okay.
can attempt to make two salves, I should say.
Sure.
And that is a alch check, which I have put on the sheet, but I haven't got the correct bonuses yet, so I'm going to add some. Oh wait, okay. Well, I guess that gets a +4, but I pass.
Okay.
First one, and then the second one
Are you really
is.
knowledge arcana instead of alchemy?
Oh wait, yeah, you're right. Thank you. Sorry. Alchemy.
That's a grudging.
That's a grudging.
Whoop, another
What's
dead goblin.
your
Okay, so
name?
that's actually a
Okay. So,
14, so that's a fail. And
okay.
then
So you made the first one and you didn't make the second one?
yes, I made the first one. I didn't make the second
Okay. So what did you make?
one. I made a salve, a healing salve, and I put it into a bolt vial.
Sounds good. It's the funniest fucking thing. You're literally playing a bounty hunter from like Star Wars: The Old Republic.
That's exactly what
Yeah.
my mind went.
Yeah, it's like, what do you do in a fight, huh? Well, I shoot my team healthy.
Yep.
And if really necessary, I can always throw one of those healthy grenades or hit them with the healthy bomb. Like, what the fuck?
Look, sometimes a little bit of pain brings some health. It's just the way the world works.
Oh, that's
Okay.
a goblin medic if I've ever heard one.
Sometimes a little bit of pain is good for you. That sounds like the opposite of truth. Well,
You'd be incorrect.
I didn't make the rules.
okay, so I think that this is probably going to be good for the first session, and
Cool.
then next week we'll actually start on the roll and have the quarry and all that stuff. Cool.
Sounds good.
All right. Cool. Then I will go ahead and shut off the stream so that we could do our sort of like post game upkeep. But thanks to everyone for watching, and we will be back here next week. Next week, Noah Schrute will not be here, correct?
Maybe it's most likely not. It's a
Okay.
pretty big maybe. It'll be 8 over there when you
Okay.
guys start. So if we're not doing anything at around 9 or 10,
Yeah.
I might pop on for like a few hours. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I mean, I don't expect you to like. I'm gonna take time out of my vacation to play Elf game. I think you should, but I don't expect you to. But I think you should,
Well,
but I don't expect you to.
This is one of the things I do enjoy, so I am seriously considering it, especially if we
Well,
have
then I think you
nothing
should.
going on. Well, if we have nothing going
I
on that
don't
night, then I
expect you.
probably will. But it'll just be weird to try, explain to my mom why I'm making these weird,
You decided to play a goblin.
I did, and I do not regret that decision. Probably the best decision I've ever made
This
in
is
recent history.
You should.
your little
shouldn't
picture of
be-
Sharut is so great though.
I gotta say, like I've been telling Justin, I fucking love Shroots.
You should let your parents know who you are as a person. Don't hide
Yeah.
who you really
You know,
are.
show
That you
That's
are.
fair. That's fair. I really should like let them know what I really am. I get
Yeah.
it. I get it.
Yeah.
He's like an otherkin, only an elf.
Fuck.
All right.
Mm.
So we're gonna go ahead and end on that great note of Noah being a goblin otherkin. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next week.